everybody, Linda here, the scrapbooking photographer. Welcome to my channel and thanks for stopping by. Today we are doing another page in the album for our winter trip in 1988, and that fits in with the winter theme for the layout library this month. And so this video will be part of a playlist where other people hopefully will join in and also share their winter layouts. So there's no special sketch or anything provided for the theme. You can do anything you like, so there'll be lots of different ways to put winter pages together, but I have chosen this sketch from Stick It Down, created by Elaine King, who is also a member of the layout library. So the papers I have chosen are these mini paper pads from Stampin Up, which are called Boho Vibes. The colours are amazing. They're nicely muted, and on one side of course they are quite busy, and on the other side they're pretty much monochromatic. So I've chosen a couple to use for this layout, but I might take the yellow out because I don't think it really fits. And as per the sketch, we'll have a little piece up here and a piece down here, but I'll do a little bit of mixed media in the background. And these photos are quite wide, so I'm thinking I will mount them in something like this colour, which is the Cajun Craze. Matches in quite nicely, and I think that just brings out those extra colours a little bit more. So Mossy Meadow is the green I've chosen, and Secret Sea. So to start with, I'm just going to use some blending brushes and mix up some colours over here, and then add a few bits to it. So I'll start with the Mossy Meadow, and I'm using a blending brush that I keep for my green inks. I've got sort of lighter green and darker green brushes. I don't have a brush for each colour, but this is the green one, and I'll change it when I swap to the blues. I'm just about to do that now. Bring in the Secret Sea and use my blue blending brush, and I'm just really putting it on and mixing the colours up. I'm not worried about the circles that show or anything like that, just a bigger patch on the right and a smaller patch on the left that will go with those different size pieces of background paper. So I think the blues and the greens kind of go well with the colour of the ice in the photo, and the photos are really shocking, but they were taken way before any interest in photography, and they're the only ones that I've got from this trip, so that's just what we have to use. So you'll see there I came in with a little bit more Mossy Meadow to fill in the gaps after the blue, and I've just daubed around the outside also in Mossy Meadow to give it that kind of outline. So I'll bring in the two-tone cardstock, and you'll see how the Mossy Meadow works really well. And because it's two-tone, you've got that white core in the middle. So I'll use my dauber and the Mossy Meadow just to whiz around the outside of both pieces to get rid of that white that shows through. And I've made the left-hand piece a little bit narrower than the right-hand piece, just because it's going to be on its own and it's smaller. And I've made the designer paper slightly narrower so that it fits inside and has that frame of Mossy Meadow around the outside. And on the right, of course, I've put those yellow bits in the middle because I don't want them showing. And on the left, I'll have to trim it off, which means I need to redaub the bit that I trimmed off the Mossy Meadow. And I'll put that the same way up so that it kind of mirrors the bigger piece on the right. And then I can stick those together. I won't pop them onto the back page yet because I want to do a little bit more to that background before I stick everything together. So I'll just make these fit into the middle like little frames, and then they'll be ready to add when we come to stick it all together. I think I need to frame the photos, and as I mentioned earlier, I'm going to use some Cajun Craze to bring out that extra colour in the photo. And again, it's two-tone cardstock, so I'll whiz round the outside with my ink pad and just get rid of that white core. I don't have Cajun Craze yet from Stampin' Up, but Paprika from Close to My Heart is a really close match, so I'm using that instead. So then I can stick the photos on, and they've just got a very thin frame around the outside, and I usually add maybe 1/4 of an inch to the whole thing so that you end up with about 1/8 of an inch on the way round. So then I can kind of dry fit those and see how they'll fit. That's good, just what I want. Cover the yellow. And then to do a little bit more work in the background, I'll mark off with the pencil where those photos are probably going to sit so that I don't waste too much stamping in the wrong place. And using the Secret C, I'll come in with these stamps from the Swirl Designs stamp set. And I've just popped one of them on a long stamp and going either side of that strip that's going to come down the middle. And I'll do the same on the left and the right. Now you'll note that I haven't put any sponge underneath, and that's so that it doesn't necessarily end up as clear as what it would otherwise. It's just to add a little bit of extra dimension. And I'm also using the little dots out of that pack as well. And occasionally I'll turn them up the other way so that we get some difference and it doesn't look like it's just a repetitive clone from one to the other. So when that's all done, I'll bring out my splash box and the white media gloss spray, and rather than spraying it, I'll just use the nozzle and dab it around. Now because it's water based and it doesn't stick out on its own, it does sort of blend into the ink a little bit, which is also water based, so that doesn't worry me. It just kind of adds a little bit to the background, I feel. So it's good to use a splash box to do this, because otherwise you get little bits stuck all over your desk that don't come off, and that's speaking from experience, haha. So when I'm finished that, I'll pop it over to the side to dry, and while it's drying I'll do the title, and I'm using an offcut from that little side piece that we popped onto the page, and I'm going to use the word Glaciers with these a la mode letters from Stampin Up, and I'd like them to follow through that sort of blue-green area, and I really try hard to make them all fit across this page, but unfortunately they are one short. I can fit Glacier but not Glaciers, so I need to bring in another little piece to put the S on, and I also need to make sure that it fits from top to bottom within the blue and green. So I can bring this extra piece in and hopefully fit the S just on the edge there, which I think I'll be able to do so that it flows on like that. So I'll go and cut those out, and I could use some washi tape to keep them all in place, and I figure I'll have a go first and see if I can make it work, and if not I'll resort to washi tape. So I'm a little bit lazy in that regard, but if I hold it nice and tight until it goes through, it should be okay. And that one went through all right, and then I'll send the others through, but in the end they're too wide to go the right way, so I need to turn them on the side and have them go through the mini one that side, because it's only about 3 inches wide. So I'll come in and cut the excess off, which of course jiggles the letters around, so I have to line them up again, and it's all good. Just as well I checked, because I had the eye upside down. So they end up going through okay as well. And just while I'm cutting them out, I'll just remind you that this is a hop for winter, and I think it's lining up with some other hops that will be shared as well. So do make sure you follow the playlist below and see what everybody else creates for their winter layouts. So for these letters, I'd like a little bit of the Cajun craze behind them, just to bring out that mounting that we put around the photos as well. So rather than have them loaded on as a frame, I'm just cutting a strip of the Cajun craze, which is about 1/2 inch wide, and I've inked around the outside with the paprika again so that it matches in with everything else, and I'm just going to line these letters up and stick them halfway up, so putting a little bit of the double-sided tape on the middle of them while they're on my silicone mat, and lining them up there, so you can see how the blue and the green flows through. But I'll cut the the Cajun craze down and then re-ink the ends so that it isn't too long underneath. And bringing the page in, I think we're ready to stick things down. So the left hand strip and the right hand strip work well. Then I can put the photos in and stick them down as well. And I really, really like the way this is coming together. And I'm so glad that I decided to put that yellow in the middle and cover it up. I think the Cajun craze that just pops through in different places really brings out that colour of the rock as well. And the blue and green works really well with the colour of the ice. So then I can put the title in down the bottom. Now initially I just put some sticky on that Cajun Craze strip, but the letters are actually a little bit wobbly. So I end up taking it off and then adding a little bit more double-sided tape to the ends, so holding them still and just putting a little bit on the bottoms of them to hold them in place. And then I can just wipe the excess glue off from around them, and I've added it to the top and the bottom, and you can see when I pop it back on the page that the double-sided tape means that it's just a little bit more easy to manipulate them into the right place. So once I'm happy with that, I've got a green heart that I can pop down the bottom just as a nod to the mossy meadow and to my husband in the photos, of course, and the scenery. And I've got some punched out snowflakes in the Secret Sea that I've dotted around as well. And these old gems from an old Christmas pack, the pearl ones, sort of reflect the colours that are in the paper, so I thought they were quite cool in the middle of the snowflakes and also in the middle of the heart. So that's my page for the winter layout for Layout Library, and it's also for Stick It Down. Thank you so much, Elaine King, for the sketch. I love it and really love the way it turned out. I do hope you enjoyed seeing that come together as much as I enjoyed putting it together. Thank you so much for watching and happy crafting.